this message going across the 2 platforms today. It better be happening. It better be happening. So let's see if this is happening. Welcome. I'm going to hit this up here, and I need to know if this is It is. It is. Hi. It better be happening. And I hear myself in the background. Do you hear that? Yeah, I do. Yo, how's it going, y'all? What's happening? You got to talk to me in the chat, yo. What's up? Kiara from the other side of the world. Hello. And Big Daddy of the solar system. And which planet would that be? My favorite one as of late? Queen of Wands. Hola. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Hello, super lucky kitty. Hello. Listen, I got some technical stuff I got to deal with in the background here. And it's just to see if I'm rolling on Facebook. And if I am, and it looks like I am, hooey. Oh, get ready, regular profile people on Facebook, because you're about to get one of these coming at you. Let me share this to these other human beings on planet Earth. One day we're going to talk about hey, I was talking to somebody on Mars the other day, and, they were coming across really harshly and caustically, but they got through. We're going to have conversations like that with other people on other planets. And, you see how I'm rolling there? You see how I got that together? Okay, so, Tara, what's up? What's happening? Aqua Gem. I'm familiar with Aqua Gem. Auburn Tarot and Astrology. Happy New Moon. We're almost there. Not quite there yet. Not quite there. Kiara. Brad. Hales. What's up, y'all? I'm going to take my time today, in a way, but not saying I'm going to stream forever. As in, the last time I did this, like, I full on went on and did this, was, I think it was, one of them was a Mars station. It wasn't the last stream I did when I got 1,000 subs. It was the Mars live station that when Mars stationed forward, it was the day before, and I went 2 straight hours, and I didn't take a breath, and I did, like, I don't know how many charts, I just rolled through, and I learned a lesson, many lessons there. So I'm going to go easy today. I don't know. I'm not going to do as much as I did last time, call and chart wise. I also want to talk about the new moon ingress that's going to happen here later in so many hours. I'm going to pull that chart up. And I'm going to actually talk about a couple little minor, they're not so minor, but transits happening in the upcoming week. And because I usually put a podcast up for the upcoming week, and I'm not going to do that. And if I do it this time, that means after I could edit that and use it for the podcast and do the full on duality, multiplicity of a Gemini and really work it. Yeah. So what's up, chat? So do tell me about this call-in session, says the chat. What I guess you will see, I'm going to eventually put up a phone number on the screen, and someone can call, and I'll answer the phone. Your voice will be on the call, and we will have a conversation, short conversation. I'll pull up your chart. You don't give me your real name. You don't have to do that. And it just, who knows what happens. I don't know what kind of charts we're going to get today. I got a little post-it note behind the camera. I'm looking. It says, "Go slow, Nicholas." Pause. So I'm going to work on that. And the owl. That's my owl right there, man. Owl's been with me for a long time. Before I came out of the womb, I think. Long time. So, cool. Yeah, fun. We'll see if fun happens here. Am I in a balsamic moon phase mood? I sort of am, and I have been. It actually feels like this whole week. Even though we had Venus, Neptune, Sun, Saturn. That was Sun, Saturn. I dug it. I think, I don't know, for me, I was working, but trying to lay low, and couldn't help but lay low. And even energy levels, just were low or chill, whatever you want to call that. It's different for everybody. But I'm still in that place. We're still in that place. It isn't going to be till later on tonight. I'll do that later about when we go into the new moon, and something that happens about half an hour to 45 minutes after the new moon. I'm looking at my side chart right now, and I see it's interesting. We are applying. The moon is applying right now in Aquarius to Saturn, which is pretty much touching on the degree of the Sun Saturn conjunction that happened a few days ago. So I'm digging with this. I'm digging this because I have major Aquarius in my chart. Major deal. And it's been a major run since 2020 when Saturn went into Aquarius. I just realized something. I haven't shared this to a place I don't normally share it to, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to take the chance of sharing it to another social media platform that I just have. Oh God, it just gets me. But they're going to get it. They're going to see it. They're going to get it. I just shared it there. I'm also on Facebook right now on my Sparkles of Gold Astrology page. I think some of those links, if you go down below in the description, I got a bunch of links there. I don't know what I updated. I'm thinking about getting back on TikTok. The reason is I want to get 1,000 people following me, because if I do, that means when I do these call-in shows, I can actually stream to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitter, and to TikTok all at the same time and reach across Plutonian generations and impose my, well, no, not that, but get my message across and do the thing. Plus, I'm going slow here today because sometimes people are coming in later. They see a post coming up and then they join the stream. And so I'm just talking with you all and looking at the chat, and I got some new graphic on the screen. You see that there? It took me some figuring out last night. And let's see how can I take this? See, I could do it like that. See, I could take the graphic off like that. I could put it back in just like that. I could animate it, which I'm not going to do right now. But hey, hello. Hi, Christine. How's it going? I am going to also say that if you feel called, you could share this YouTube, share the Facebook post, share it. If you feel called to do that. My goal is to get to a place where when I go live, we have a ton of people, and then I will implement the other wacky ideas when we have more peeps. Queen of Wands in the chat. You have my TikTok. You can have my TikTok, 1,000 followers. Yeah, well, I have a thing with TikTok. I don't really like the platform, and it hurts. It crushes people's souls, I think. Amina, hello, welcome. Right on, Christine. I see you in the chat there. Got you. But at the same time, I have to accept TikTok because it's just like there's certain people there I would like to reach from a generational level, from the many phases of Gen Z to millennial to just people. There's only people on TikTok. They don't go to YouTube. They don't go to Facebook, definitely. It's a generational thing. So for me, I'm about to jump back in there. It's just I got to build it up. That means I got to post on TikTok, which is more work. All right. So how long we're in here? About 8 minutes. I have to look at something here. While we're talking here, you don't know, off to the side, I'm making sure things are running because of what I have happening on Facebook at the same time here. And I have to just check on that. And then we'll get to we'll get to it. Okay. All right. I just need to see that. Yeah. So anyway, hey, there's 18 of you watching. That's cool. Like, sometimes I think when I do this, is anybody going to show up? Let's take a look here before I throw a phone number up on the screen within minutes here. Let's take a look at the chart I have. Okay, so let me see if I got this correct. Yes, there it is. I got some timer up on the screen. I'm going to leave that. This is 2:09-ish. Obviously, I started about 9 minutes ago. Where I am, Cancer is on the ascendant. And then I have to thank you, Queen of Wands, for the share. Thank you. I'm also going to test something out here that I've been having problems with, but I'm going to see if this is going to work. And basically, there is a freehand lame-o drawing. I was practicing last night. Let's do this again. This is the Cancer ascendant. So it works. I see the annotators working. I see it on my screen coming because I have a delay. So that's good. That's a Cancer rising. This is Saturn moon conjunction in Aquarius. And that's where we're at right now. I didn't plan on this, by the way. When I put a poll out on Instagram and on my Facebook community page, I was like, when should I do this? Some people wanted me to do it the next day. I wanted to do it Sun Saturn, but I was busy on Thursday. I have a class in the morning, and I got other clients. And I was like, there's no way I could do this. And I was like, sometimes astrologers will say, just chill out in the balsamic moon, like don't do anything. Like this, And so I'm like, well, no, this is good because I kind of roll that way, and I will be chill and not my normal self, hopefully, and go too fast today, and also incorporate the new moon that is happening tonight and talking about it. So anyway, I find it interesting too that we kind of have a colder Saturnian vibe here going on in the chart when we're doing this today with Saturn moon. And what else do we got going on? Let's clear that. Let's look at this interesting thing right here. And that is Venus is at 29 degrees, 29 minutes. It is soon to go into Aries within less than 10 hours. No, it's not even that. It's in about 8-9 hours from now. I find it interesting too here that this is a 29 degree Pisces midheaven, at least here locally. And where this falls in this chart, by the way, my chart is my 11th house. Got that? You see that? You see that? That's what's up. So there's that. Hey, look at this. What's building soon. It's happening right now. And that is Chiron, Jupiter, and Aries. Another live stream, another video I will make. But we are applying to this. And I will bring up something else about this later in the stream when I pull a chart up, because we have an interesting so many days when there's going to be an influx of Aries energy hitting Chiron and Aries. So, Gareth, thank you for the share, Gareth. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So, just that. I needed to test my annotator. Annotator, is that what they call it? It is. It's kind of funny because it takes me a couple extra steps. Not the way I want to do it. Let's point this thing out here, right here. No joke. No joke right now. 15 degrees, Uranus and Taurus at the midpoint of the fixed. This is building up to a 14-degree Scorpio eclipse that's going to happen in May. Little tidbit while I waste time until I put up the phone number on the screen. So if you're just joining in, I don't know if I have anybody new, but I'll put up a phone number up on the screen here soon, and we'll take a call. We'll take a call and talk about your chart and whatever else. And then I'm going to, not spend like 20 minutes on a chart. My max is hopefully 8 minutes. Some 7 to 8 minutes. So, okay, so that's what's up there. I'm also testing my technology. That's kind of how we entered in this live stream. I also have a couple books on the side of me here that I might bring up later about like a mini impromptu review of some books. Some of them are astrology reference books that I use and maybe you don't know about. And I also, when the time flows and it's right, have some thoughts about our current world, the transits, and what I think is happening on a mass level. And we'll get to that. I got to warm up to that if that flows out of me. Lisa in the chat, woohoo, from Vancouver, Canada. Yes, good to see you. I'm not too far away from that border, or I don't have to be. It's not too crazy of a drive. I need to get up there. So I am also looking at the clarity of my stream right now before I get to the next level. No wonder it's acting that way. I need you all to tell me something. Do you hear me good? And is everything visible? And I think it is because I see you commenting, but just let me know in the chat. And then I'm going to make my next move here. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let me know before I go on, before I add the phone call thing. And I'm staring at the chat right now, waiting for y'all to let me know what's up. All good. All good, Brad. Welcome to Discovery Park. So Yes. Thanks, Kiara. Thanks for the confirmation. Okay. Okay. Here's one thing I'm gonna say though. This is my Saturnian rule moment here. Don't use your real name when you call. Fake name. We're gonna talk a little bit if you call. And then I'll be straight up with you. I'm like, hey, it's kind of time to wrap it up because I got to get to the next phase or next caller, and I'm trying to set some good, healthy boundaries for my energy and for the balancing of the stream, and also where at least in the time that we have, I could be present with you and have a little something for you. We could connect in a little bit of way. The other thing is yeah, those are the main things. Definitely know your birth time. If you've called in before on the last 3 or 4 episodes of this, try not to call again and let some other people in. Okay. And so, that's what's up. And let me look at something here. All right. I think 15 minutes of me rambling is enough. So I need to do this for a second, and I need to do something. Boom, there it is. Phone number is on the screen. So somebody wants to call in. The other thing is, you're watching and you're going to call in. I'm going to need you to turn down whatever you're watching so that doesn't echo back, and there's going to be a delay. So you're going to have to pay attention to me on the phone. You know, the screen, there's going to be a delay from what you're watching to what, you're seeing. So I got some incoming call here that's from somewhere. So let's see what happens. Hello? Hello, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You can.
You hear me?
All right, hold on a second. I just need to know, can you just I know sometimes it's hard doing this because hear your voice, but I need you to say hi to me and say a couple sentences like, hey, the weather is nice. Can you do that?
Okay. Yeah. Hello,
Yeah.
Nicholas. I'm calling from Denmark. And I'm very nervous right now. I have to think about being seen.
It's okay.
I thought I would challenge myself.
And thank you, by the way, for having the courage to step up. The reason why I'm having you talk to me a little bit is because I need to know if I can hear it on the stream, and people are going to let me know in the chat if you're coming through, because I can hear you, right? So that's part of the reason. And okay. And I'm going to take my number off. I had a lot of people calling here, so you got in first. And let me take something off the screen here. Okay, so thank you for calling in, and I'm going to go slow the way I move today, just so we can let things breathe between us. And
good.
Yeah. I'm in that mood today. I'm not in the zone to go rapidly firing off. So, and we don't have to do any names, but
well, I'm Big Daddy, so you just put me in as Daddy.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Oh, were you in the chat? Did I see you in the chat?
Daddy.
Yeah. Okay. We'll call you Daddy. Okay. And I formally have to ask you, would you like me to take a look at your chart today? You there?
Yeah. Just can you repeat that? I didn't catch all of that.
Yeah. Would you like me to look at your chart today? I have to formally ask you that.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know your birth time?
Yeah. My birth time is 11:39 a.m. June 12th.
Yeah, I'm laughing right now because that's my birthday.
I know why you're laughing, because you're gonna see.
All right.
1991.
Okay. 11:39 a.m.
And that's
June 12th, 1991, and where?
the country is Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
And the city is Esbjerg. And I'm going to spell it for you.
Okay.
E-S-B.
B as in boy or P?
J. B.
P?
As in boy, yeah.
B as in boy, E-S-B.
Yeah, J.
Mm-hmm.
E-R-G.
How do you say that?
Esbjerg.
Esbjerg. Okay, let me see if I can pull it up here.
Yeah, Danish is something.
Okay. Wow, I'm trying to find this right now, and there it is. It's I see where it is. I got it. No, I got it. Okay, so June 12th, 1991, 11:39 a.m. People are seeing too what I'm looking up right now. It kind of changes my thing, as in my data. Esbjerg, or I won't get the pronunciation, Denmark. Okay, so your chart's on the screen. Eventually, You're going to see it, and you're going to let me know if it looks correct, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And is there anything you would like in particular for me to look at today?
No, I actually, I've been watching your other live streams, and I was actually thinking as well that you spend too much time on each person, which is, it's good. That's you. Mm-hmm. But I was hoping that you would have some clearer boundaries for yourself. So I thought that to match that, I would ask you some questions.
Okay. Is there, as long as about the chart and
sorry?
Yeah. If we're talking astrology, sure. You ask me some astrology questions or your chart. Yeah, totally.
Okay. So first question.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Gemini is Juliette Lewis. Who's your favorite Gemini?
Me. That's a joke. I don't know. Actually, it's a really good question. I don't have a favorite Gemini. It's like I'm gonna give you a total Gemini answer, and it's like it varies. It changes. It changes on me, So it's funny for being a Gemini and Gemini energy. I almost don't think about it. I think about other signs a lot, but ever since last June, my world, Gemini has come into my world because of the podcast I did with Chris Brennan. Because I was on the Gemini episode.
I watched that.
Yeah, and so from clients...
Yeah, and I saw you, and it was like, oh, this is a good one. He knows.
Yeah.
And of course,
sometimes I know.
Discovered that our charts are kind of similar.
Yeah, so that's I don't know if that's the best answer to your first question here, but it's like, it's weird though. It's weird for being a Gemini living that life, but not even thinking about it. But like since last June, from clients to messaging to right now, to the moment you and I are having right now about this, it's been interesting like in my life. And actually for you and for everybody listening and watching, put me back on a path of dealing with more deeper study with Hermes and Mercury. Not that I didn't know anything before. And by the way, that podcast I did with Chris, I couldn't even say a lot of the things that are in there because that's how we did it. But anyway, I'm answering your question. Okay. Can I see something off the bat with your chart that has to do with what we're talking about, by the way? Would you like to hear?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, as anybody watching right now, if they're catching something here, which could hopefully who knows what the theme's going to be here today, but Daddy here that we're talking to has a balsamic moon. I mean,
I sure do.
So close to the new moon happening. It's on the very edge, and I have to test this thing, and I'm going to circle. Yeah, it's working. So, it's 19-degree Gemini moon that you have and a 20-degree sun. Here we are on a balsamic moon day, and we are talking about that. So for people listening and watching, the balsamic phase, and in astrology, we can separate the moon phases in 8 phases. So not just 4, but 8. Anyway, the last phase before the phase in the cycle starts over again is the balsamic moon. And it's kind of like the letting go place, the metaphorical death place, where everything's been recycled and disseminated in all the stages of the moon cycle. And we get to this place of an ending. But it's not just an ending. It's kind of an interesting place because I'm a believer of a balsamic moon being the ending and the beginning. It's like there is no boundary. Technically, mathematically, there's a boundary because we're looking at Daddy's chart here and it's balsamic moon at 19 degrees. But there is an ending and letting go. But at the same time, on a dark, deep level, it is a getting ready for the seed to be planted for the new cycle again. So on a more modern psychological perspective in astrology, they're going to say this is an old soul, right? They're going to, this is someone who's been through it in all the phases. What do you think about what I just said, Daddy, about that?
Well, I've always been I study astrology myself for about 3 years. And because I was born like 2 hours before the new moon. So I was kind of confused about which moon phase is relevant for me to know about. But that's, that's also a theme in my life that I'm kind of stuck in the middle of everything. And at the same time, I also operate in extremes and yeah.
Yes, and I hear what you said about stuck in the middle too, and I can understand that from the in-between place, literally. And I'm looking at your Mercury here in Gemini, and as those know, and Mercury along with one other goddess, and we're gonna get to this down the line past in this live stream because it's part of the theme about this live stream for me. I just haven't told you all yet what else I'm gonna bring in this live stream, but there's one other person who can go through the underworld. So one of them's Hermes, and it's the in-between person. Goes back and forth. It's just so interesting to me, Daddy, that besides your moon phase here and what you said about in between and this thing is, there's Mercury really close to this too. And Mercury being your chart ruler because you have a Virgo rising. So,
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Did you have another question?
Yeah, I have a million questions, but I'll do this one. I have a lot of inconjunctions in my chart, and I was wondering if you had to describe an inconjunction as though it were a conversation, how would those planets be talking to each other?
They would be trying to talk and then not connecting. So like right now you're looking at me on the screen and I'm looking at you and we're connecting, right? Like you and I are talking because we're like in a sense, I'm looking at you right now and you're looking at me. Okay? Now now you're looking at me and let's just pretend there's the owl next to me, okay? Well, let's not pretend the owl is there. And you're trying to talk to the owl. And let's say your voice and words and your energy is projecting towards the owl. The owl's not seeing it, hearing it. And your message isn't getting across. And the owl's hooting back at you. And it's kind of like blowing by you. There might be hints of like I'm trying to connect with the owl. Owl's trying to connect with me. And it's thrown off. It's not there. It's like two ships kind of not connecting on the waters. So for the chat, they're calling it a quincunx, but it isn't in conjunctus, same word. And I know I'm looking at your chart. I see what you're saying here. And I find this interesting too because of what's about to happen. Maybe this is why you're asking this question. What's about to happen to all your Leo planets in the next year and a half, 2 years? And it's because for the people watching, March 7th, Saturn's going to enter the sign of Pisces, and it's going to go into your 7th house here, Daddy, and eventually hit your ascendant degree, and then really apply to your Venus, your Mars, and eventually your Jupiter. And that inconjunct that you're talking about is going to be in play. And I also, bringing in planets in the 12th house almost have a thing of not being seen either. They kind of get lost in the mist,
Yeah.
So for me, now, if I were to take the next step of dealing with an inconjunction, right? It's like looking at it's like a blind side. For me, and this is, I'll let you know, besides the Saturn transit that's going to happen, something more is going to click in here. And I actually think that this summer, you're going to get a major homework assignment. I say that because of a Saturn talk, homework, work. But let's call it a homework assignment that actually can be interesting here and creative. And this is the reason why, is because besides Saturn coming into your 7th, Venus is going to go into Leo in June and eventually go retrograde this summer. And Venus is going to be in the sign of Leo all the way till the end of fall. This is a huge transit. I actually think this transit is one of the biggest of the year, because whenever we have planets that do something major like Mars and Venus and they go retrograde, we see it and feel it, and it's tangible in our life. When we deal with outer body planets like Pluto, Neptune, it's harder to see. So I'm going to say that there's an interesting opportunity that's coming this summer that has to do with the reworking and review and revamping of how your 12th house connects to your 7th house, right? Okay. So, and I'll say a couple more things, and I'm just curious to see, I want to know what you're thinking. And, we'll keep it at that. So, your Jupiter rules the 7th house. Your Jupiter's in the 12th. 7th house, we deal with relating in the other. Your Venus is in the 12th. How one takes action in their chart is Mars, that's in their 12th. And so for me, I'm thinking like, I think it's unavoidable this summer and into fall about a major relating story for you of how you relate and connect to the world, what brews inside you creatively, your will and your creative force, how in the past it's come into the world or not, or seen or not. That theme and subject matter, I feel, is going to be at the top of the list for you this summer and fall. So how you feeling, Daddy, about what I just said?
It's so strange because that's probably the thing that I would most like to hear right now. I'm a musician, and Big Daddy of the Solar System is actually my band name. Well, it's a one-woman band, but I'm a Gemini, so we can call it a band. And I recently started releasing music again, since like 2018. And I'm gonna really go for it now. The music thing. That's what I want to do with my life. So to know that, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah. And Big Daddy, the way you just said that to me was not wavering. You said it directly, and you're like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And, I think if you are in that place mentally, in your physical world, in your creation, I think that's a great place to be, because it sometimes takes a long time just to get to that spot. Right? And sometimes people don't take that extra step, It's hard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it has been hard. But that's no excuse. That's why I'm making friends with Saturn, as you said. That was the best thing that you said that. I love that.
Yeah, and
I really took that to heart.
Yeah. And I'm going to wrap up the call, but I'm going to leave you with a couple things here, okay?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to leave you with a couple things. I'm circling something on the screen. You got Mars still in your world in the 10th from the whole sign perspective here. It's right there. It's coming right here, and it's right there now. And Mercury is coming for your planets here. This is huge. This is where you implement everything that's happened in the Mars retrograde since August, or since the transit started. We got pretty much, I think it's March 25th that Mars leaves Gemini. Saturn's leaving the 7th. You got Saturn, your Saturn return. You're graduating. Everything, the way you've just said things to me, the way you did whatever, is like a bling, like, I know what I'm doing now. I know where I'm going. That's huge. So when, Saturn hits your 7th, you'll know how to work Saturn. It's not going to be the easiest, but it means that you know how to build now. You know what it is. You finished Act 1 of your life, and you're building Act 2 now. And so the final thing I'm going to say to you is your midheaven's 25-degree Taurus. Jupiter's coming your way too, eventually by degree. So you do that work that you're talking about. Reconstruct the Leo part of your chart. Get lost in that creativity, but construct it with Saturn. Find the connection between Saturn and the Leo planets on the inconjunct. Find the way for the connection to the owl, the conversation you're going to have with that to flow. Because once Jupiter is going to get closer to your midheaven next year in the spring, your top of your chart's going to be lit up.
All right.
Okay.
That is noted.
Right on, fellow Gemini. Right on, fellow birthday person. I appreciate you and you calling from Denmark. Thank you. But I appreciate your intention. And, there's obviously other things I'm seeing in your chart right now, and I picked up on it or whatever. So I appreciate you coming through today on a balsamic moon that is your home. And that you brought yourself to here, to us in this place. So I honor that. And so thank you.
Thank you. And sorry that we exceeded the time limit, which you...
It's my choice.
I don't think you started the timer, by the way.
I didn't this time. I just didn't do it.
Virgo comment here.
Totally Virgo.
By the way, you made a mistake.
Yeah, I did. I'll work on that. I want to tweak it next time. Big Daddy, thanks, okay? I'll see you.
Thank you. Yes, bye.
Bye. So, oh, wait a second. See, I'm trying to click stuff right now, and I need to do this. Okay, so I need to do this for a second. So, okay. Balsamic vibes. 12th house vibes. Big Daddy came through on the call. They were nervous. They came through. And then they did a total Virgo rising thing. They left me with a nugget there at the end helping me out. It's funny because I was like, do I turn the timer on for this one? And I didn't. It's just funny. And it's like, that would have been the perfect one to do the timer with, because they were respecting the time more than I am, because I'm running the show. I'll stop and whatever one I want. But I thank you for that. Okay, so I just want to greet a couple new people in the chat. Hey, Angela, I see you in there. If anybody else is dropped in. I know I saw a comment earlier in the chat like, hey, what's the phone number? And when Big Daddy just called, I had like 3 calls coming in at the same time. So I just happened to come in through first. That's how this works. I don't have a queue in a sense. I could do it that way, but whatever. But yes, for those watching coming in, our caller called themselves Daddy Big Daddy. So, okay. So, yeah. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. So I might as well just say this now. And I might as well just do this now. Because I got the clue. Because of things being balsamic. And then we had a caller with a major 2 hours before the moon phase, like amazing, and was on my same degree as my son. This is wild. So I'm going to read something to you all. And then when we get past this and take a deep breath, or I'm going to take a deep breath, I'll throw the number back up on the screen, okay? But I was going to do this at the very beginning, but I didn't. I'm reading from my favorite translation of the Orphic hymns. And come on, there we go. Pop into focus. That's what's up. I'm reading from that. You want to know more about that book? Please support me. Here, I'm going to throw this in the chat. This is one of my book lists that I have, and I will do this. That's from my bookshop. I also have an Amazon account. I'll throw that up in a second. I'm gonna read something to you all, and it's from the Orphic hymns, and maybe some of you will understand why I'm reading this in particular now. Lovely, lovely Hekate of the roads and of the crossroads, I invoke. In heaven, on earth, then in the sea, saffron cloaked, tomb spirit reveling in the souls of the dead, daughter of Pisces, haunting deserted places, delighting in deer, nocturnal, dog-loving, monstrous queen, devouring wild beasts, ungirt and repulsive. Herder of bulls, queen and mistress of the whole world, leader, nymph, mountain roaming, nurturer of youth. Maiden, I beseech you to come to these holy rites, ever with joyous heart, ever favoring the ox herd. See, she entered my world last fall in one of the most mysterious ways, and is continuing to do that. And for those who know about Hekate and story of Triple Goddess, know that we honor and we petition her and our ancestors during the balsamic moon phase every month. So that is really the true reason why I decided to do this stream here at this time, is because of Hekate. And I honor her. And I honor that altar behind this wall and the place that we're on now, and the caller that came in with the balsamic moon chart during balsamic moon. So we can go on and on about that, and maybe one day I will, because I'm always taking in and learning, especially with Hekate these days. And so that's the vibe I've been in all week, and that's where we are. So, saying that, give me a second here. All right. Well, you ready? I'll put the current transits up on the screen. Moon's getting closer to Saturn. I love this. All right, y'all. I'm gonna have listen. I know I won't be able to get to all the calls today. I know I won't. But here we go. Let's do it again. There's a phone number. Here we go. All right, I got one. I could tell this person's been waiting for me. Hello. It's Nicholas Sparkles of Gold. Are you there? Can you hear me? I lost you. Let's see. Here we go. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, it's Nicholas Sparkles of Gold. You're on air.
Hi, Nicholas. It's Barbara. So in the chat, it's Queen of Wands.
Queen of Wands. Welcome.
Thank you.
Do I hear a bird?
Yes, I'm outside. Should I go inside?
No. No, you do that. That's cool. I'll let you know if I go inside and see what the bird. I was just curious. I heard the bird. I'm like, oh, we got a bird. Oh, wow. What kind of bird are you? What kind of bird is that over there talking to us right now?
Those are probably just, I don't know. The little ones are always around. I forget the name. Oh my God.
Sparrows?
Yeah, probably just some sparrows.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And I could tell here maybe that you've turned down what you're watching, which is good, so we don't hear ourselves. So
Yes.
I'm like the birds. Okay, so I'm gonna call you Queen of Wands, and
Okay.
and my fire friend. And would you like me to pull up your chart?
Yes, please.
Okay. So let me do something here. All right. And when's your birthday?
October 3rd, 1974, 5:50 a.m.
50 as in 50?
Yes, 50.
Where are you?
I was born in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Oh, watch out now.
I know, I'm in Arizona now, so.
And that's New Jersey?
Yes.
October 3rd, 1974, 5:50 a.m. in Jersey City.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What's that noise I'm hearing in the background?
I don't know.
I heard like a...
Is the TV on? Can you mute it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'll let you know if things get in the way noise-wise and find a quieter room.
No problem.
Okay, so I'm actually going to take heed of my past caller, my Virgo ascendant, who said to press the timer. So I'm going to try to do this. I have to turn on some scripts here. And is there anything in particular you want me to talk about?
Nothing in particular. Whatever you see that stands out for you is perfect.
Okay. All right. Cool. And let's see what we got here. Timer's rolling. I added a minute.
Okay.
Let me look here. Oh, hey, another Virgo rising. Welcome.
Thank you.
Which I can't help but bring that Saturn is going to be entering your world here. In your house.
I've been trying to make sure I prep for it.
Yeah. No, that's good. You just said a key word here that you're prepping for it, and that's a good attitude to take because Saturn loves prepping. You're prepping for it. Like even if before you go to school, they send you like I was gonna say the ephemeris, but they send you the list of books that you have to get. There's a name for that. I can't remember.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's the phase. That's a good place to be to think about.
I've learned my lesson with Saturn. Take heed and prep.
Yeah.
It'll all come out better in the long run.
Yeah. And I'm curious, is there a reason why you're the Queen of Wands?
I like what the Queen of Wands stands for, and that is what I have worked for in my life to be the attributes of what Queen of Wands is. And that's what I work for.
Mm-hmm. And what are a couple key words of Queen of Wands that are for you that come out?
Definitely, she knows what she wants and she goes after it. Respect,
mm-hmm.
And more about earning respect. A lot with especially like sexual independence is also a big one because I had a lot of past trauma, sexual trauma when I was younger. And I realized when I was younger, I didn't deal with it properly until I took it to be a part of power for me. And that's a big one for me too.
Uh-huh. I'm glad I asked that question, and I'm glad that like hearing you, and about your past, but how you brought in here to this place of empowerment and claiming power, speaking truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm all about it. And I'm looking at that Mercury in your chart. I'm looking at that Mercury in Scorpio you have. And that's what that is. When it's firing on all cylinders, like the way it does, that's straight up truth. Like that's like to the point. And I see how it's connected to your moon. the emotional processing and how we like to be nurtured. And I could see at certain points, we have the playing out of your moon and Mercury, where maybe there's a tendency to lean on one side of the opposition or on the other side where the moon is. It's just what happens with oppositions, But basically, the goal is to bring the two together, right? To balance that. So I'm just really good to hear that you're all about your empowerment, and your voice. And I also, see that Pluto of yours and Pluto's sun, and what that is and what happens with that. And and in the end, I think a key word to and not just for you, I think this. I could just tell by the way you're talking to me that you have wisdom on your side, and you've had it come in your way naturally in other ways that are challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the word is regeneration, and it's a thing, I think, where someone who knows stories like this, or like you got Mercury and Scorpio too in your chart and stuff, that have to find their way in the first part of their world or life and get to places of understanding that, to being able to you have no choice. It's like no choice, like
right. Right.
So
I played the victim for long enough, and I was like, yeah, this is not getting me anywhere. The more I take it and use fear instead of it being fear, and internalizing it, I was able to, throughout my years, use it as a place to feed off of fear and turn it into empowerment. And it took time. But definitely much better to be able to not have that fear, and turn that into power, especially with me with my Pluto, made a big difference for me. Yeah. Queen of Wands. I believe you. And I see the wands that you're wielding and the knowledge behind them, and you are on that seat, that throne. You got yourself there. So good work, good job. I just want to acknowledge that with you. I could say here too that the eclipse cycle that we've had in Scorpio and Taurus since the end of 2021 here, we're at a pivotal phase right now with it, especially in your world, because the south node part of the nodes in Scorpio is pretty much right on your Mercury right now. So, mercurial things, things that coming from the deep within thought and from within oneself, and how it goes through a regenerative process and the past. But I think at these moments here, because I'm not the type of person that's going to be like, South Node sucks and the North Node's the best. I'm not that philosophy. They all have their stuff that they do, and I take more of the Eastern Vedic perspective with the Rahu Ketu thing. And anyway, I just want to say that right now the energy is happening there with these eclipses. There with your Mercury and your Moon. Okay, and that story is starting to trail off there. The last eclipse in this area actually happens in the fall, but then we're already transiting or going into the next cycle, which happens kind of overlap, and that cycle starts at the end of this April when we have a 29-degree Aries eclipse. Now I'm bringing this up because you have more eclipse stuff work and story coming up for the next year and a half when they start happening in Aries and Libra. And do you know why I'm saying that? No, it's your tell.
Yeah, it's because you have 5 planetary bodies in Libra. Yeah, and the way I have this chart up here on right now is it's in dealing in the money house of resources and money, and on a deeper level we're dealing with value systems and what is of worth to you. So
That makes a lot of sense, especially with what I'm going through right now in my life. And I know, especially with my Taurus moon,
Mhm.
I see stability in the tangible, right? But I know I was sent here to do more. Like, I know I was here to help people. I work in behavioral health and developmental disability and addiction recovery. I know that's what I'm here for. So I just try to find a way to help people while making money. Like, do my life's best work while I'm able to have that comfortable Taurus moon satisfied as well, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So like, like the quick, not to wrap it up here, but I don't know. I'm going to tell you something. You tell me what you think and then we'll be done. But it's just like, well, the way we started talking here and then where we ended up with the eclipses and what's going to happen here with, your second and eighth houses, right? And, you have Chiron in the eighth there too. There's this thing about resources that are outside of you having to be tied into and acquiring them and there's an old story, old wounds there. Then there's you of your generation of resources. I'm also looking at Saturn going into your place of your house of relationships. And, to me, if I think about all this really quick and then like step out of the chart and go with what you've said to me, I'm like, yeah, it's time to get paid what you're worth. It's like, I think a lot of times people in the healing professions, and they have a knack for that because of what they've been through in their life, because they understand wounds and healing and the process, which you do. You find yourself in places where you help, and sometimes it gets off balance. I think you get taken advantage of, or there's no boundaries. And then let's just say we're dealing with money and career. It's like, well, you're not just helping people, but you're taking things in psychically too, and all that. Like, but you need to get paid for what you're worth. You've built it up at this point, right? And so for me, I'm like, what, that Mercury in Scorpio can ask for that, can say that out loud, can go like, hey, it's time for me to get this. And it's connected to that security level thing there with your moon, right? So, yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't know I was going to have.
Nicholas.
I didn't know I was going to have a major a tarot card, a queen walk into my world today. but
You're amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful.
Yes, and thank you for calling, Queen of Wands, and good luck with everything.
Thank you. I'm going to go back on now and continue to watch the rest of the callers.
All right. I'll see you.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
I love hearing stories of people who changed their game, who they walk through suffering. I don't want that for anybody, but it's part of this world. And as someone who talks to people privately, and some of you out there watching, I know, do this too, you don't know what you're going to hear, but one thing's for sure, it's tough being on this planet. So when you see and hear someone empower themselves, come from the trauma or the problem or the situation, and they find their way, they start to find their way, how can you not honor that? How can you not see that? How can you not support that and say, I'm here for you, and if you need any help, I'll do anything I can. What do you need today? Like, if that's even that, or just like to go, I see ya. I see what you're doing. You're rocking it. You're amazing. So, let's be real here. With all the technology, with all the stuff, with all the whatever, this live stream, the zillions of astrologers, the self-help books, the whatever, it's all out there, man. We're all trying to figure our ways and different modalities of doing this, right? But it's like, but on the simple base core level, when you hear someone speak their truth, and it's something like what we just had, it's just like, all right, I see you, man. Keep going. Keep doing you. take it, get it, because they're not getting it to steamroll somebody else or to mess with somebody else. They're not. They're there to help people. So they need help too. And part of that help is full-on appreciative support in the most positive, fulfilling, base core way for our fellow friends, family, clients, human beings. We need it more than ever. With past all the distractions, past all that shit, right? So it's just like, you know what? Sometimes simply, it's just like, you are rocking it. I see what you did. I'm sorry that went down for you. And what way can I help you? There's different ways of going about this, whatever. But you know what I'm saying. It's just like, that's what you want, man. That's what you want. You want growth, evolution, empowerment. And then when you see someone grab the wave, that the wave came and they went for getting on the wave, and because you're risking your world, your livelihood, possibly how people view you, and you're doing that knowing you're wounded and you have this story that's whatever. It's like you to have courage and to risk and jump and walk into the unknown is the deal. And that's life. At least for me. So anyway, so that's the deal right there. I just got to look at the chat really quick. I know some people are calling. I'm pop it up on the screen here. What am I? I'm an hour in. Oh wow, it's already an hour. And I'm going to do something really quick here, because what I just said and what just happened brings something interesting up here, and I'm going to do something. I want to pull up. I'm going to pull up this chart, and this is in particular. This is the new moon that's happening tonight on the Pacific end on February 19th, 11:05 p.m., which is basically into February 20th in the middle of the night, the new moon in Pisces. And, I been thinking this week, and some of the things that or where I'm at and what's come through me is about how I think we're at a major transition phase. I'm not just the transits reflecting it. I'm just talking like internally, like you see it in culture. You depending where you are, you see. I'm tired, like another level of tired. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I'm wandering. People are, depending on their situation, are coming out of whatever pandemic COVID zone that they've been in. And let's say, people are walking around with no mask, whatever. Okay, that's fine. Just a matter. But I'm saying you're walking out, and it's like you came out of a cave that you were in for 3 years, and then you're like taking steps in the world, and you're doing what you're supposed to do. And what I mean by that is like what you knew before. So before the pandemic happened, before certain transits happened, you were doing what you've done before. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do, or this is who I am. But you're not the same. No one's the same. I mean, that's life. Everyone is changing, but on the collective level, no one is the same. And no one's talking about it. Some of us are, but no one is. I think everyone has a level of this, of like how they're walking back out into the world. And it's kind of like sort of like all scattered a little bit or whatever, whether it's in one's mind or it's in their body or in everything. There's just like pieces that need to be put together. But it's only natural for humans to put the pieces together back the way that it was before, but you can't. It's not going to be the same. It isn't. I don't think we're going to know really the true effects the farther and farther we go in the future about what has happened to us the last 3 or 4 years. So it's like, now I'm saying this when it comes to the new moon, because there is a thing here of a regenerative process. And, I'm talking about this in the balsamic phase. We kind of had some balsamic talk today with the first 2 callers. Here we are with the new moon. And, I think with Pisces, we get to a place of washing away. It's where one can surrender into a place of letting go of compassion, of love, of light, whatever your spiritual trip is, and letting go into that, And I find it fascinating, that it's, in the sense, you could say it's at the end of the astrological cycle of the year, whatever. It just depends on what hemisphere you're in, whatever. I'm not going to attribute it to summer or to spring and fall, because we can't leave out the southern hemisphere, right? But it's like there's something going on here with this new moon. And the transits we had last week with Venus, Neptune, Sun, Saturn, it's almost like letting go and going into the healing fountain. I don't know if you're video game players. It's like getting you re-up. You're going into a place where you get your heart filled, your heart meter filled, And I think we're in that heart meter filled XP energy, vitality, needing a refill here. And I think until we go into March, and when we have Saturn go into Pisces, we're getting an interesting reconstruction of this Piscean ideal of letting go and what that means and surrender, but it needs structure. It needs some sort of revamping. And I think for a lot of people in their Pisces part of the chart, they actually could work on something here that's still been a part of a deeper Neptunian story going on for years of how we disassociate or how we connect, how we lose ourselves or how we come in and bring in. So, I think this past week in this new moon is all about this. Right. And there's, you could see, here's the new moon, right? There's 1 degree, right? So, I need to see something really quick. But there's that. And then sometimes I go into grid aspects because I need to see stuff quick. Okay. So, we got a Uranus. We have a Uranus-Mercury square that's happening, that's building. It's going to happen with this week in a couple days. That's part of this. So, there's still the thing of like, I think ingenuity that's possibly could be seeded here during the new moon. And the reason why is because Mercury's in Aquarius getting set off by Uranus and Taurus this week. So there's a building thing of like something getting set off in the mind or in the Aquarius part of your chart that could bring in something. And I'm bringing in this Mercury and Aquarius stuff because we just had Sun, Saturn. We have Moon, Saturn. And I think Saturn and Aquarius stuff is overlapping with Pisces birthdays here. Happy birthday, Pisces. In the next several weeks until Saturn leaves. So you almost have to blend the energies of Pisces, Aquarius into this. The letting go, wanting to integrate, but bringing ingenuity and possible something into the future to help with whatever vision came across to you this past week in this new moon with Venus and Neptune, with the new moon. But what do you do with that? Where do you go with that? So, there's that. There's a couple other aspects I can look into this, but I don't want to I just want to be straight up. But know that right now, I think that, that we're looking for something. Each and every single one of us is looking for a where we're going. I think because of the transits as of late, some of us know where we're going next. We know what we're walking towards, and some of us are trying to figure it out. But on a mass collective level, there's a lot of floating around wandering. But I think it will be defined here the next couple months. I think the new storylines play out. But for now, for me, I'm like, refill your tank. Take care of yourselves. Nurture yourselves, get ready, because we are about to get shot out of the gate into a new phase collectively here once Saturn ingresses, once Pluto does its deal, and really when Mars leaves, at the end of March. When we get out of the end of March, we go into an eclipse season, eventually Jupiter into Taurus, so on and so forth. So it's like, I just feel like we're in pieces and we are finding a way to put it together. It just will never be the same. And it's one's individual process, one's individual knowing about when they come to a place of understanding that they'll never be the same in their individual world. Where then, that's everyone's different with this. And the transits are going to play out for them in the next couple months about definition and reality of like, oh, I can't go back. Now what? And some of us are like, I know where I'm going. So there's this thing. And that's part of what I was thinking about this week, not just with this lunation, but, of energy. And so, yeah, now I got to plug myself, and then I'm going to do the phone call. But if you're out there and you're looking for some direction and stuff and whatever, go to my website, sparklesofgold.com. Get a hold of me for a session if you want. I'm about to add some new packages on there about direction, about doing some coaching, actually multiple sessions with clients and some other things. But I just wanted my little version of the new moon. Do your ritual, do your thing, and that's it. And that was just off the top of my head. So, okay, I'm gonna do something here that I don't normally do, and let's see if I can get into my phone. And I'm going slow today, so I don't care. I don't see names, by the way, on a caller ID. I just see numbers. I just need to check this chat, y'all. Gemini Rising has changed me before I was asleep now. Okay, I see that. Hey, Christine, you're saying, you're so right. We walk through a veil. I think everyone's disoriented. I fully agree. I think there's just different levels of disorientation going on. And it's part of the transit, actually. It just happens to be that on a longer term cultural level, I think. But one more thing I'm going to say to this is that, remember, in history, whenever we've gone through something major collectively, and there is a type of thing that happens where we're in a collective death story. Okay, we just been doing this. I don't know how we're talking about this. Instead of spending money on like funding wars, and I'm gonna go off on this for a second, but all this stuff, man, just imagine we spent the money on like collective healing and bringing people together to deal with what the hell we just been going through. That's just in general in life. You could pick any point in history, but I'm just saying in general, like, you got to think about this. And I think this is part of what's about to happen on a transit-based way. Saturn and Pisces, Uranus and Taurus, Pluto and Aquarius, I think can contribute to a different way of how community heals each other, how people come into each other's realms and interact with each other, a different type of interaction. Something else, something new is coming. It's just the other side of it where there's people who are going to manipulate it for whatever ways, and we're always going to deal with that. We got to pay attention to the other part and to never give up on human aspiration and evolution in the positive sense. And it's when people are that way and they think that way, it always comes from a place of divine love, from divinity. Wherever you access it, how you do it, it comes from there. The shit is always good. So remember that. It's like we have some major planetary stuff that's about to happen that's bringing different ways for us to do this. It's also going to bring some other messed up stuff. Just remember the other good stuff. It doesn't have to be the messed up stuff. The messed up stuff gets all the clicks and the shares, okay? F that. We want the other thing. Okay, so now, surprising somebody.
Hello?
Hello, my name's Nicholas Sparkles of Gold. How are you?
Hello. Great.
Yes, you didn't know I was going to call you, did you?
No, I didn't.
But you tried 4 times there, and I'm coming at you. So,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and how do you feel right now with this? You feel like you would like to do this?
Oh, yes, please.
All right. So, I might do a longer live stream today. I'm saying this for the viewers here because I know that people are calling. I'm just going to take my time today. I'm not going to rush through things. I am going to, I have to do something really quick. Just be patient for me.
Absolutely.
With me.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I got that on the screen. And then, all right. Well, would you like to take a look at your chart?
Yes.
All right.
It's March 14, 1984 at 9:24 p.m.
You said AM or PM?
p.m.
Uh-huh.
And what's that? It's Rusk, Texas. R-U-S-K.
Where is that in Texas? Like east, west, north, south?
Yeah, East Texas, like east of Tyler.
Oh, I don't know that. But I just driven through East Texas. It gets swampier and swampier the more you go towards Louisiana. And I never seen the bugs that big. I was just like, they're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just walk outside like an oven with bugs.
Yeah, it was wild. March 14th, 1984, 9:24 p.m., Rusk, Texas, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let me start my timer because I got to thank the first caller again because they're keeping me on point here, and I need that.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on a second. All right, here we go. Is there anything in particular you'd like for me to look at or talk about?
Well, I'm feeling something shifting. I do know I've got a Pluto square coming up, and I'm a Pisces sun, I'm a Leo moon, and then I'm a Scorpio ascendant. I've got Pluto in my first house, and there's a Pluto square coming up, and then my Pisces sun's at 24 degrees, and I think that whatever's going on, I think with the Saturn is maybe 25 degrees of Pisces. Long story short, I feel like something's coming. I'm taking action, but then I also feel like I have some stuff like I'm getting in my own way in some ways, but I'm trying to learn how to get past that so that I can continue to take action, especially with work. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I have a lot that I want to offer online in a way that can maybe help people. I'm very into astrology, but it's not just astrology. It's more like I'm not an astrologer, but I'm learning about a lot of things, including math, and you can see like this stuff going on with my 8th house. I've got the North Node and the part of fortune, and just a whole bunch of other asteroids and stuff. And it's like I really have this desire to learn about things that are, hidden, that nobody really talks about, and I kind of want to share it. But anyway.
Okay.
And then also I feel changes I've been having issues in my marriage the last few years, which you can probably see Uranus going through my 7th house. And anyway, so I feel like a lot's about to shift for me. I feel like my chart I feel hopeful, and I feel like it might be kind of a death rebirth thing, but I just don't know quite how to prepare, I guess.
Okay. And yeah, would you like to hear a thought that I have about
anything that you have to say? I'm not worried about it at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. I heard what you said on levels, and I could piece it together while you were saying that about the different aspects of your life and in the different, we could say, parts of your chart. I could, hearing you, I could see definitely the word transformation has come up here. So it's a thing here, and I want to focus on one particular thing. And first off, it's like two things really, but just say for people, you and for people watching, that you have fixed angles. So I just want to acknowledge you and say and hear what you said about what you're going through. And I also know it's reflected with the astrology, because with anybody who's got fixed angles, but your fixed angles, you've had eclipses and Uranus play in your world and Saturn. So we know that. Two things, and then we'll keep it at that. I actually think that your 5th house that deals with creative expression, your connection to the pleasures of life, dealing with the core life force, you have Venus and Pisces there.
Yes.
Yeah, Saturn's coming your way. Saturn's coming your way for your Piscean self here the next 2.5 years.
I know.
Yeah, and I will tell you that in the end, to keep it really simple, Saturn wants to define. Right? It wants definition in the end. It's just the road to definition. And a lot of times we have to deconstruct and reconstruct in order to define something. And when we do that, it's a redefinition. And if we think about it from taking steps of like, hey, I want things to change, or things are shifting, I have a feeling, got this feeling, things are about to move, I need to get ready for it. The getting ready for it's Saturn talk. But if we look at this, in your 5th house and your Pisces stuff from a redefining creativity, redefining your connection to what is fun, redefining what is connection to what makes your heart soar, right? You know, that is coming your way. I could say it to you in another way, you know, but I'm not. I will tell you that it's not the easiest thing to deal with at times. It's not going to be.
Yeah.
But you do, when Saturn goes into the water sign of Pisces, it is right off the bat. You brought up Pluto in the beginning of this, but I'll tell you, Saturn's going to be on your side with your Pluto. It's going to, through its whole cycle, going to trine all the water planets in your first house.
Okay.
So remember that. We talk about outer body transits. They're hardcore, but a lot of times they disappear for a while. It's the inner body planets, and planets like also too that separate the inner planets and outer planets like Saturn, which are so tangible to work with. It is right there in front of you. You have no choice but to work with it. So an acceptance of that first off. But I'm telling you on a positive note, you know, you're going to have it work with your Scorpio stuff. And so what do you think about what I just said about that?
That's encouraging. I knew that there was challenges coming up, but it is encouraging. I have, you know, you can see I have Pluto and Saturn in my first house, Mars in my first house. So it's encouraging. I've had a hard time, you know, nailing down what it is I'm doing. I was a mother of 3, homeschooled, and now I'm like, what do I do? And now that what do I do now? And I feel that transformation coming. I also feel like I have to get organized. I feel like I need to finish what I start. So just that Saturn positive quality of, you know, maybe organizing myself and actually finishing what I start. I could see how that could really benefit me.
Yeah. And I like what you just said there, you know, like you made the connection, like the benefit, you know, and you know, I just to acknowledge, you know, you've had these eclipses happen in your first, and I don't know, but I know that there's been change and transformation since the end of 2021. These eclipses, hardcore. That cycle isn't completely done yet. But what I can say is that Saturn could be utilized. It's for your next steps. You're not going to be in the South Node or the part of the Scorpio story that's been very difficult. I think a lot of that is you know what everything is. I don't think there's any surprises there about what is changing and regenerating. But I do think in the end, listen, eventually Saturn will hit your sun in a couple of years here. That could be a tough moment, challenging. Okay. But and interesting for you is you have time here to know what that's going to be. And so when it comes closer to your sun, you would actually might feel like redefined at that point. And you know, where it's like, hey, I actually see what's happened here the last 2 years, first 2 years of the Saturn transit. Now I know what's going on with my identity, and then it's finishing the story, you know. Anyway, one more thing before we get off the phone.
Okay. This
has to do with something you mentioned about the career, what you want to do, because I said it earlier in this stream, but Venus retrograde, the Venus transit in Leo this year is huge. It happens and starts in June, goes all the way to the fall. It is totally going to affect you. So if you got 2 planets now here, Saturn and Venus, which can be worked with.
Okay.
So first off, we're talking about a redefinition of how you creatively express yourself and how you understand your Pisces self through the place of expression and connection to your core light. And what is, on a simple way, what's fun for me? What's fun? What triggers my core life force to create and to be in this world? And then you have the other part of this, which is the top of your chart, which deals with your career, your public status, fame, all that stuff. You know, it's about to get Venus is about to have a makeover in that part of your world. So if you're thinking about planning and going up and taking steps, think about that makeover of yours in the career part of your chart.
That's already happening.
Good.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Wow.
And go ahead.
Do you I don't want to take too much of your time, but does it look like if I put these things in action in the best possible way that I would succeed, or is that not really shown?
That well, I have a different way of taking questions like that, and that's a type of question and thing that takes time and
Okay,
like
got you.
space, like one-on-one
Of
consultations and
course.
stuff. But I
Well,
will.
I'll check out your website then, and
Yeah,
we'll have another chat.
sure. That's if you feel called to do that. But again, I'm just trying to show you two things that and let's remember, you try to keep things simple at first, of like when we're planning, and to think about, oh, how am I going to redecorate and re-beautify my career place? I'm already doing it. So we know that with Venus, right? And then with Saturn, it's like, how can I find a different way creatively to find my expression? But what other interesting creative tools can I bring into my Pisces world? So that's why I was giving you two things to keep it,
That's extremely helpful. I really appreciate that. Actually speaks to what I'm thinking about, so thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for calling. Or you call, but I called you.
All right.
Well, have a good rest of your day, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
As I always said on YouTube in the last year, my Scorpio Risings, I got a connection to y'all. I know, I feel your story. I got a little something with your Scorpio Risings and Scorpio planets. I just have that thing, and I always feel honored. I feel honored that you would come and talk to me, because I know that Scorpio ascendant or whatever you got Scorpionic, I don't just do with anybody. So I get it. I just like, I'm like, all right, I'm with you. I'm all, and I ain't scared of Scorpio energy. I'm all about it. As a matter of fact, Scorpios and Geminis, we get the worst rap in the astrology world. So I feel you, Scorpio Risings. You always can come talk to me. Talk, whether it's formally an appointment, whatever. You can call on the show. I'm all about it. So, all right, I have to acknowledge the chat. And I know some other people have called and calling, and I can only do so much. I'm almost an hour and a half into this. So yeah. Yes, and let me look at the chat really quick. I don't even know how many people are watching. I know some people are coming in and out of here. I just want to say energetic principles. I see you. I saw you in the chat earlier, if you're still here. And I was in the middle. I went through a third of the way of the Pisces forecast on your channel. Just cuz. Let me look at chat here. All right. You're welcome, Mel Artista. I gotta say what's up. I see somebody talk. I see an old pal. Old Norwalk pal that's up in Canada. Just want to say what's up. Haters gonna hate you. What's up, girl? God, it's good to see you. Mercury ascending, nice. Gem rising, Scorpio moon here. Yes. Angela says in the chat, and today is the last day of Venus in Pisces, 29 degrees. He's talking to somebody else in chat, and yes, it is. It's the last deal. And I put up the new moon chart earlier, and I was talking about that. And what I forgot to say, and I wanted to bring in, because I wrote it in my notes here. It's like we got the new moon that happens, 11 or whatever tonight. I knew it in my head, in East Coast time and to whatever. But like pretty much within, let me bust a move, because did I do this? Did I already have this up? Jupiter conjunct Venus, blah, blah, blah. I will put this up on the screen, and this is the deal right here. If I go, if I'm going to go like here, I'm going to go to this chart here. And we're going to do it as number 2. And then I'm going to go like this. So basically this is like 11:55. The new moon happens at 11:05 Pacific time tonight into East Coast next day. But then you could see here within 50 minutes that the Venus goes into let me get this right, man. I'm still trying to figure this deal out. This is my little annotator, because Venus goes into Aries right after the new moon. That's why I was talking about contemplative, lost, or whatever. But we get Venus going into the fire right after the new moon, and so this is a story that's going to play out and go further. Now, the interesting thing about this is because we can't forget that is eventually this is going to happen, and it's on March 1st, and this is March 1st. I can do this really here. This is March 1st, 2023. And here's where we have the Venus-Jupiter conjunction that's going to happen in Aries, and pretty much Chiron. So that's what we have building here. We come out of this new moon, but we go into some interesting Aries energy that kind of sets things up for us. And that's on the 1st. And, you know, it happens along, and let's be real about this. And then I'll do something else. We have the moon in March 1st here. The moon in Cancer is going to be squaring. Here's the square, squaring this Venus-Jupiter conjunction with Chiron. So we have a heavy emotional, interesting Tuesday and the Wednesday, March 1st, the last day of February. And that week, the cardinal signs are going to feel this. Anybody with Aries stuff is going to feel this. We're going to have wounds exposed and possibly caustic type of like raw feelings going on here because of the square that happens with the moon that day. But in general, if we're not looking at the moon, we have a heightened raw sense of will. And I think here, too, one can look at something like this and actually implement and take healing measures to the Aries part of your chart and to the Chiron and Aries type of story that's been going on, where, yes, it could be raw with the moon square, but in general, Jupiter's coming in and inflames it. A lot of times when we deal with old school healing, sometimes we need to sweat things out. We need to purge it out. Things need to come up to the surface. So something like this happens in relationships with Venus and Jupiter and with Chiron involved. So it could be harsh, and at the same time, there's a raw sense of like, this is who I am in relationships. This is what I want and what I need. How can we do this? But one has to state what is important, to speak up for themselves. It's just how they do it. Do they speak up in a caustic way and are brutal and are coming in with punches, or is it a type of relative situation where people are hearing each other and like, this is what I feel when so and so happens, this is how I feel. See what I'm saying? Instead of like, you did this and you did that, which sometimes needs to be said, but I'm coming from the more perspective of like what one has to say for themselves when it deals with the Aries part of their chart and the wounds that they have there. So, you know, this here is there. Now, one could take the perspective of like, well, Venus doesn't flow there in Aries, and it doesn't technically. So should I just stop the live stream now? Should I tell my client that who has Venus and Aries that they're effed? No. And I think I don't want to ever get caught into that, but I know it has a difficulty. It doesn't flow there, but there's solutions everywhere in life, in things. Sometimes you don't see it in the moment. Sometimes it comes after the lessons and stuff. But to me, I'm looking at this and I know that things are going to be inflamed and there isn't going to be the flow that Venus had in Pisces, but there's something there, especially if you got stuff at these degrees and if you're Aries or you're Mars ruled, there's something there. And I think it's a forward moving motion. Again, got to sweat something out first. You got to sweat it out. Okay, so I'm at an hour and a half in. Let's do something here. And okay, come on. Let's do it. I think 1, maybe 2 at the max, and that's it. So I'll take another caller here if I can, whatever is going to come up first. I just want to thank you for watching, and if you shared in general with this, you've shared it on your social media, I appreciate it. What's up, Casey? See you in chat. 3-hour show. I could do a 3-hour show. Who's going to watch a 3-hour post live stream? I see another thing in chat. People don't want Venus to be Martian, but it works for some of us. It sometimes does. It totally does. All right, let me get this. Hello? This sparkles of gold. Hi.
What's up, Casey? See you in chat 3 hour show.
Can you hear me?
I can, but could you turn down the...
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing my thing. I'm
That's a
doing
great show.
I'm doing thank you. Thanks for participating. Yeah. Would you like me to take a look at the chart? Your chart?
Definitely.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Let's
I'm ready.
people are probably asking, why are you asking? I'm like, I'm trying to make a point. I have to formally
That's
ask.
respectful.
Yeah, I want to go through motions. I gotta do this, So okay. Let me take a deep breath here. When's your birthday?
It's September 26th, 1963
Mm-hmm. What time?
at 4:47 p.m.
What city?
and that's in Denver, Colorado.
It's not. I was there not too long ago.
With Chris.
I was helping run a conference there last summer, and what was it? Westminster or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
North suburbs.
Yeah, definitely north suburbs. September 26, 1963, 4:47 p.m., Denver, Colorado, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Eventually, just so you know, people watching, there's a delay. So, just try to stick with me on the phone. Eventually, your chart's going to pop up there, my friend. And for other people watching, they're also calling, too, because they're seeing the number, and they're like, why isn't he calling? It's like they're going to notice that I already took a call. So I can't avoid the delay. All right. So at this point, we have a 7-degree Pisces ascendant, correct?
That's right.
Libra sun at 3 degrees. I just want to make sure we're on point here. Is there anything one thing in particular you would like me to talk about? How can I help
say
you?
just anything that sticks out
Okay.
to you.
Okay. All right. Let me take a look here. Well, this is a theme it's sticking out to me right now. I got 2 things. I just saw something. All right, I'm going to use a word here where I'm trying to be lighthearted here, but I want to say a pre-congratulations to you. And and the reason is because you are almost done with your second Saturn return. Did you already know why I was saying that?
Well, I know it's getting ready to end, but it's getting ready to hit the helm of my chart too. So.
It is. It is. So we're gonna.
Lots of Saturn.
Yeah. You're doing a Saturn run of 5 years here. No, actually, no. You're doing a 7.5 year.
Yep. Because of Capricorn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, let's just piece it for a second here. You're almost done with the official Saturn return of Aquarius. So I'm going to suggest something. You tell me how you feel about this, okay?
Okay.
Every year people, they celebrate their birthday. Most people do. They're like, they do it. Some people feel weird about it. How would you feel on March 7th that you did something for that day?
In terms of
that you graduated.
maybe I should do a celebration.
Sure, we could use that word. We could use some other word, but some sort of word to go, I just did this. I just did my second Saturn return.
Well, I feel like it hasn't been that hard.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And maybe it's because it's in the 12th already. It's in a good position in Aquarius in the 12th house. But it just, I'm so used to, I mean, I think there's an austereness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to it by now.
Yes.
So maybe COVID didn't really do that. I mean, that wasn't a big change for me.
Yeah, like, so this is how you're living all the time, you know, like it's how it's been. Yeah, okay, I feel you, I get you. So now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm definitely wrong sometimes. I know I am. When we first started to talk on this call, I mentioned the Saturn thing, and I felt I can't see you, but I felt some hesitancy or something in your voice when we talked about your ascendant here in Pisces and Saturn possibly, coming through here. So, what feeling do you have about that? Like, you know a little bit of astrology, obviously. So,
I'm not clear on the question.
Okay, so
how do I feel about my Pisces ascendant?
How do you feel about Saturn coming in your Pisces world here in a couple of weeks?
Oh, well, I'm just tossing it around. I'm thinking it could be good in giving structure to what is, kind of a watery, maybe not well structured kind of, for my first house, for that to represent who I am, like the way I think and just, mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
I feel pretty, I'm probably pretty intuitive, but I feel along with that comes a lot of non-structure, even though I've got a pretty strong Saturn. So I'm thinking it could be good, but then I worry, I just toss it around a little bit. So then I'm thinking, well, I hope I don't get sick,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So and Chiron's right there as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So kind of curious, just, being aware of, I'm just kind of watching for what comes up.
Okay. And hearing you about this, I could have went and said my view of it, but I wanted to hear your view because I think about this stage in your life and having your Saturn return and certain things, there's a certain type of standing in the world and knowledge that comes from just pulling a second Saturn return off. So I just think it's something there. Not only that, we cannot forget about all the Virgo planets that you have, like your seventh house and what's happening. You're going to have some oppositions happen there too, I sometimes give, this is clients, homework. For some reason, I want to give you a piece of something for you to think about and ponder. Would you be into that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be great because I look at that seventh house and wonder myself.
Yeah. And okay, here, we don't have to do it here on air, but for later, we want to go back to your first Saturn return when you were done and then what happened afterwards from, I can look it up the dates right now actually, but we want to look into like 29, 30, 32 years old. Because that's when Saturn was last in Pisces in your first house and was opposing, your Virgo stuff and square, Pisces, it was on the angles of basically your career part of your chart, home, the other relationships, those are the four main parts of the angles. That's where Saturn was around that time in your life. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I heard you say something about it being grungy the last time Saturn was in that area. And I remember that being really a pretty good time in my life. But my Saturn return itself was tough. But then after that Saturn, the first Saturn return, it was, it was mixed, but it was fine. And it did feel pretty grungy in a good way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I just have to say that because sometimes I do that with my clients and they go back and they can go, especially with certain cyclical moments like this where someone can piece a story together if they're especially wondering like what's going to happen or what's next. Sometimes you can get a glimpse of that by going back. It doesn't mean that the same things are going to happen, but as for a theme, right? If we're thinking about a theme, you can catch it. Now, obviously, how you rise out into the world is a big deal here that's about to happen, And when I talk about rising sign, we're talking astrology here because it's an astrology show. You know a little bit of astrology. Sometimes I think about it's like the costume that we wear, or the shell that we have that we get into, and we rise out of the east, the rising sign, and that's what we're showing to the world. Okay, so like the Piscean filter that you're seeing the world through, and how people are seeing you. Okay, so for me, it's like, okay, there's some sort of redefinition, like I said to a caller earlier, redefinition of this possibly could be happening, of like, again, a thing you could think about is like, what is Pisces? It's like, do the same thing over again. Like, what is Pisces? What is Pisces rising? Am I going to redefine this again? And by the way, Pisces in general are so good at redefinition, I think, in general, like because of the mutability, always changing and becoming something else, identifying with something else, right? So, I think here also, though, that the Virgo planets actually help you out, because if you go too far off, or the boundaries get blown out with Pisces, the Virgo wants to bring in the details. And
grounds me.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. Pisces walks out the door and says, the universe is going to take care of me. They might not be wearing any clothes. They forgot to put their clothes on and they walk out the door. And Virgo is going to be like, hey, you need to wear your shoes, blah, blah, blah. Here's a compass. Here's a to-do list. This is how you get back home, by the way, if you need to get back home. It's like the details, So, for me, talking about this with you and stuff, I'm wondering about the redefinition that's going to happen with you in your first and your seventh houses, and what that means to you now at this point in your life. And if we were to take a inspirational way, and there's a reason why I'm using that word, is because Jupiter ruling your ascendant. Okay? Beginning of this transit next month, Jupiter's going to be in Aries in the beginning of this, ruling the Saturn and Pisces. And then it's Jupiter and Taurus. And I think here, we will see how other astrologers talk about this, but Jupiter and Taurus with Saturn and Pisces, water and earth vibe. They connect. So for me, there's an inspirational something coming here, and there could be. And that's one way to look at, like, is this going to be this way? Or I don't blame you, by the way, for thinking like, am I going to get sick? I mean, because you read about that in astro books. You read about the vitality can get sucked out of somebody when it's in their first house, when Saturn's there, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the way the story goes, And anyway, I just want to be clear about that there is some sort of thing here. I think if it was a different point in your life, I would talk differently. But now I'm like, there's something here. There's something interesting here that play out inspirationally. Like it's just a reconstruction of what inspiration means to you and what being a Pisces rising means to you, like how you engage the world, like how do you enter in the world? So I know we kind of went, that's some I guess some Piscean type of talk right there, but what do you think about that? And, we can kind of wrap it up there, but what do you think here? I asked you in the beginning about what do you feel about Saturn coming into your first? Okay. Now, what do you think about it?
Well, I think my focus is going to be, and it has been, I've been gearing up, maybe because I've had so much Saturn, but my goal is by the time Saturn leaves my first house, that I'm going to be leaving my job, which will make me very happy. And maybe to go on to something that's live a little bit more of a authentic life, true to me, because it's really just a job that pays my bills and isn't very satisfying. So my hope by the time that Saturn leaves is that really does come to fruition, and that's what I'll be building and focusing on, and I've done a lot of building towards that direction already. Okay. So I'll just keep plugging away, and come what may, watch everything else and see what happens.
Come what may and see what happens is definitely some Piscean talk right there. And in the end, let's not forget technically, before we get off the phone, just leave you. Remember, you get that 17-degree top of your chart, Sagittarius. Eventually Saturn's going to square that. It's going to be in the middle of this when you're almost done leaving that career. but I like the way that you're taking an extra step to knowing like what happens after, and you already have a planned date because stuff is going to shift. So with that, there is always unknown, but you do know something in the future. And so for reconstruction, redefinition of who you are in the world, your ascendant and going out to the world, you got one step forward already. Like you're ahead of the game because you can plan knowing there's an ending coming. Sometimes, a lot of times we get endings, we don't know they're happening or they're coming, and it shocks us. Like,
Yes.
So
I'm chomping at the bit, so I'm looking forward to it. So it's a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Before we get off, I just want to say, also, I know you're probably already paying attention to your finances and how you acquire resources and stuff. You're having your Jupiter return. Yeah. So, I just, I didn't want to leave that out because it's a major deal because you're in the heart of it right now. My last in between calls here, you saw the little rant I went on about next week, Venus, Jupiter, Chiron, Aries thing. It's happening right there with you, right in the middle of that. So I know you're making note of how you deal with resources, what value systems mean to you, so on and so forth, but there's definitely action happening there in your chart. So
I'll have to think about that because that's probably the more nerve-wracking piece because it's really a pivotal time with everything going on in the world and economically. So on my radar.
Yeah, totally. It sounds like it is. And remember too, you're going to have an interesting shift that happens for you personally in this because, Mars is ruling that Jupiter and Aries right now, and it's in your 4th house. It's pretty much on top of your, on your angles on the bottom of your chart, And it's important when Mars shifts in the Cancer, it goes into your 5th house of their creative activity and stuff. Now, traditionally, they're going to say Mars doesn't flow in Cancer. It doesn't traditionally, but for me, I'm like, there's something going on there. Mars is going to shift over into that 5th house of Cancer for you, and it's still ruling that Jupiter and Aries till it's done in May. So you have an interesting story going on from what money and resources are, especially connected to career and home and family. But then there's this other element that kicks in. When Mars goes into Cancer at the end of March, where it's eventually going to hit, your North Node, something here. So I'm throwing a lot at you, and that's enough. So anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to be eventful the next few months, like you were talking about.
Yeah. And I'm going to end this call by saying, congratulations. You're just about to end your second Saturn return.
It's been a good one. It's been fine. For people who are afraid of it, I would just say, I did a lot of work prior, but I think if you're doing the work, honestly, it was not a tough one.
Okay.
It really wasn't. So, of course, it's not over yet, so we'll see.
No, it's not. It's not. But
so
I'm glad you ended it that way. For someone watching this later on, that Saturn doesn't always mean it's horrible.
Not at all.
Yeah. So thank you for calling.
Well, thank you so much.
And have a nice night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
It was good. I like that conversation. It was good. It's good. I like certain types of differences here. So, all right. I can't even pay attention to the chat. I'm at that place where I'm getting done. Sort of there. I'm the end, and I'm like, you guys are all chatting astrology in the chat. I see this. Oh my gosh. I'm seeing this. Luckily, y'all know some of the language because it makes sense. And are you all being nice to each other? You are. Look at that. Good job, people. Oh, okay. I see what y'all doing. Some balsamic stuff. All right. Okay. So, let me say something really quick. Let me show you something. Where am I? That's where I am. Okay. This is, that's my bookshop.org. This is my website, which I'm going to change someday here soon. But I got my basic stuff. The main part here is I got my reading, my rates, who I am. I just added something else new. I'm going to add a couple things new here next couple weeks, package-wise. I just want to say that if you're ever interested in getting a bigger reading, I can only do so much in 10 minutes, man. I usually work with people. People who've worked with me before, they know that it's a little different when we're one-on-one. All this is. And just drawn out and a lot more different ways, and to put it and have a conversation with you where we take things and look at them, what you have asked for coming into the reading, what you would like to know more about, and then the things that I see, and then we put that together. We put it together, and if possible, come to a place of, if there's actual tools and certain things that are needed to where you can use in your world. It's not me telling you what to do. It's stuff that we suggest and talk about, that you come to a place with a decision where you feel comfortable, which is the most important part of this. That's why this show is called the Empower Hour. That's why I do this, is because it's about you and about finding your way, your tools to your movement and evolution in this world, in your life, your story. I also have a podcast. I'm going to put out an episode as soon as we're done here with an interview I did with, which one am I going to put up? I'm going to put up Eric Perdue, who just made translations of Agrippa. It's my 3 questions podcast that I do with astrologers. It only lasts like 5 to 8 minutes. I ask 3 questions. We laugh about stuff, but that's my deal. I have a podcast too. Besides my weeklies that I do, I have a back cache of interviews I've done in the last year of 3 questions interviews that last 8 minutes. I need to edit them and put them up. It's just time. I just want to show you that. If you haven't, I have a Patreon. 2, I have some members there. I'm trying to get more people. I have to promo myself. I have to do my call to action before I take the one last chart I'm going to do on air. So I just wanted to show you that. So there's that. And let me do something here. Why can't I move something? My computer crashing on me? No. So, yeah, that's what's up. And I just, so yeah, just to, I will also mention that, February 21st is the new moon, not new moon. February 21st, we have Mercury square Uranus. That happens at 2:22 p.m. Moon goes into Aries that day. The next day on the 22nd, we have Moon Venus. Moon Venus is like the first major aspect that's going to happen with Venus going into Aries tonight. Then we have Moon Venus on the 22nd. Mercury trine Mars, awesome transit that's going to happen this week, that's building up this week. Mercury in Aquarius vibing with Mars in Gemini. Come on, we've been needing this. This is a good one. You air signs, you Gemini's got Gemini placements. This is a week where the kaboom flows out of your head. I'm digging it. I have some things I'm going to do this week online, and a couple videos I'm going to do. Who knows? Maybe I'll go live again just with a transit thing. That's an idea. Moon Chiron 2 this week. Okay, that's a little sensitive. So I just want to say those things. Let's take one more last call, and then we'll do it, and I'll sum things up. Oh, and I need to talk about a book. And for those of you watching this effing long of 2 hours, let's do it. One last call, and then I'll be done with the calls, and I'll talk about a book, and then I'll end things. And thanks, chat. Appreciate your energy and all you shared, Nicholas. Thank you, Mercury Ascending. Anthony asked a good question for the chat while y'all talking about intentions. That's a great thing to talk about in chat. Someone's talking about their son's 16th birthday. His moon's in Aries. He'll be having an interesting year. He will. He's going to be throwing himself out at the will. As parents, as a mom, you're going to have to corral that energy. You know what's up. You're an astrologer. So that's what's up with that. Appreciate you all watching. It's an experiment to do it on a Sunday. I preferably like to do them during the week. I also want to say, until I see a phone call coming here, that I am less than 1,000 hours away here on YouTube from getting partnership. You ever watch my videos? Watch them all the way through. I'm going to try to put out a couple videos this week and next week and a half, but I am very close. When I whatever amount of watch hours I need, which I think could happen within the next month, then I will become part of the YouTube partner program. I will be able to add things to it. There's a decision of whether I'm going to put ads in the middle of my videos, which I don't think I'm going to do that, maybe at the end or beginning for revenue, but I don't think about that. It opens up some actual other things for me to do, which is super chat on my live streams and storefront and a couple other things. So I'm really almost to a major goal with my channel here, and I hopefully will catch it in the next couple weeks. All right, I got this number on the screen. If no one's going to call me, then I can talk about something else, and that's cool. And thank you for the 25 consistent people and a little bit more that have been here. I know this is way long, and I should just... Okay, last call. I see one coming in here, and it's the last deal. Hello, Sparkles of Gold. You're on air. Hi.
Hey, it's Super Lucky Kitty.
Hey, Super Lucky Kitty. You said that to like we talk all the time. I like that.
Yeah. So I guess what's jumping out on my chart? I know we're going to be having a consultation this week, but
okay,
hold online.
Okay, hold on. This is important. I know who you are, and I want to, and I'm going to be real with you here. Because of we're gonna have a one-on-one, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I almost don't want to what's the word? Pop the bubble, or you know what I mean? Like the space, like the thing, So I'm being real with you here because
no, that's cool. I like realness. I'm a Scorpio, so let's be real.
Yeah, so
let's talk more about the Chiron thing to everybody.
Okay, I could do that and jump off, but first I just want to make sure like you and I are on the same page, like you understand why, like I would want to keep it separate. Like
no, that's totally, I get it.
Yeah. Plus,
no one was calling, so I was like, all right.
Well, I have a feeling
somebody's
gonna.
I'll call.
Yeah, you're a Martian. Yeah, we'll call. But listen, I appreciate you just doing it though. This is good that you're doing this because this is the first time a situation like this has happened, and I needed this to happen to define boundaries and to do it in a way with you and with everybody else so they understand like the sections of things and how things flow. Does that make sense?
Completely. I've been doing boundaries all year. So
okay, cool. And this is funny what I'm about to say, but I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, but I like the energy, so keep it flowing.
Thank you.
And we're gonna get to whatever you called it earlier with YouTube, so we'll keep plugging for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's a slow mountain I'm climbing, but anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye. Thanks, Super Lucky Kitty, for that one. Just made me define something because this is okay. Listen, people, I think I'm gonna end it there. Listen, this whole thing's an experiment. I would like to have 100,000 people watching one day. I would like to have 200 people watching, whatever, in the future. But I appreciate the Martian energy, something I've incorporated into my life. But I think it's important for me to, when I already know when I do these streams that I'm entering uncharted territory every single time. That's part of the rush of it. The other part of it is there's things that I don't think about, like I have to deal with and like or to understand and to whatever. And we just had something interesting, and I'm glad that it happened. Thank you, Super Lucky Kitty, for that one, because I'm like, oh, and here's the thing where I have to do my thing. And it's, be me and establish. And it sets up something for in the future, for how things go and watch, or how when people are watching. And maybe they could pick up something from it. But, more and more, because of what I'm doing here on air and for what all this is, I'm going to be entering territory in all types of ways. And it's part of the reason why I'm doing this is because of the unknown factor of things and for growth. And that's how you grow, right? A lot of times it's like something comes up. It's like, how do you do with it? Like, I can run away or, push it off. Like, no, what's the solution? What's good to deal? And the first thing I think that's very important, and I'm always learning from myself, and I also talk to other people about, it's like, what can and cannot do? And at the moment, boundary wise and rules wise. And so it's totally some Saturn action. There's totally Moon Saturn going on right now during this. And for me in my chart, having a 10th house Saturn house. So I'm appreciative of these moments. I'm looking at the chat here, and while I'm going to ease off the stream and say goodbye, but you're doing your Saturn thing, Nicholas. I am. The great learning experience. Yep. It's good to see Kiara, this is a good way to see the edges of boundaries. So when you get to over 100 views, you don't have to deal with either. Yeah. Experiment. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for your support on Instagram and on these streams, on my YouTube videos, the private messages that I'm getting lately. What else do I say here before I leave? Okay, I'll end it with a book. And, oh my gosh, I have 4 of them here. And which one do I talk about? This is, the book I'm going to, I'll show you this book. It's weird. It's not the wildest book in the world or whatever, but it's one of my reference books. You're going to see here, it's called The Arcana Dictionary of Astrology by Fred Gettings. It's kind of like Wikipedia in a book. Well, really, Wikipedia. So that's what this book is. And like, it's done in a just a dictionary format. So if I give, here, let me look at something here. Okay, this will be funny. Here is a page. It's called chart system. So you could see it just goes by definition. Look at that over there, though. That's my Saturn glyph right there. Look, that's Agrippa. There's Saturn right there, since we're talking about. Anyway, it's like a dictionary book. And so basically it's a reference, It doesn't have everything. I think it could use a revamping. But it's one of many books that I have that I reference sometimes and I go through, and just everything's alphabetical. And, this definition for what malefic aspects are and what Mars is and what lunar mansions are. Just a little dictionary. Again, it doesn't have everything, but it's called the Arcana Dictionary of Astrology. I think I have on my Amazon. Let me just put this in the chat because put that right there. There you go. It's not on my bookshop. It's not on a bookshop thing, but if you're interested, any link I put up is an affiliate link. It helps the channel if you buy something through there. But that's my little book for today. The Arcana Dictionary of Astrology. It's a reference book. And why am I getting some reload there? There we go. So I'm looking at chat. Thank you. And thanks for bringing up the last couple of years. Yes, I feel like we should be talking about it. Transform and evolve. Definitely. And we will be talking about it. It's just how we will be talking about it. Social media right now is going through a regeneration phase. There's something crashing and burning right now with social media, and it's moving into something else. It's just that's the thing of one part of the connectiveness. And maybe this is how I'll end the stream. Connectiveness, human connectiveness, obviously is what we need. It's what makes the world go round. But let's not forget the organic quality to all this, which is your senses, which is physical spaces. Some of us can't do that. Some of us, depending on their life situations, cannot be in physical space with other people. And the technology, internet technology, is huge for a part of our world and people and our culture where it is of utmost importance to connect for whatever reasons too, whether, they can't physically do it or they have different things of just, they're introverted. I don't know. There's just different ways. It's there, and I just want to acknowledge that. But I also want to acknowledge something that's important here for as in where we're going. We're coming out of a space, like I mentioned earlier in this live stream, about disconnection and being from here to there. But a lot of us are coming into a space of like integrating in physical spaces and doing it again and being comfortable with it at our own levels. But then what? What happens? So I particularly don't want to forget what our senses do with each other when we read each other's body language, when we are each other in physical spaces, what we hear together, what we taste together when we eat together in meals, all these little simple things. It's the simple sensory type of things which connect us, and actually when they are getting to a place, open up. If you're into a sixth sense or something beyond our senses, open up there, but they only flow through our senses. And when we're dealing with human integration and being together, this is what we're coming back to. What we've always come back to, what is essentially everything. So as for where we're going, what's the mystery, the surprises, the technology, it's coming, but we always go back to what's always been there. Our senses. Our senses and the other things that have been there for us. Venus's cycle in the sky, which is precisely mathematically there, connected to the golden mean and sacred geometry, the way the stars move, and our seasons. Always been there, always here now, and always will be there. Dependable. So, it's a thing where ourselves connected to nature and our reintegration with nature, I think, is the first and foremost, and in the end, the thing to go to, thing to the temple. So thank you for watching and dealing with a live stream. I had to do this long because I just needed to go about this balsamic way. I hope and wish for every single one of you who participated in the stream that you have a good rest of your balsamic moon phase and a good Pisces new moon. For those watching later on, thank you for when I get time, it's going to be time tonight and tomorrow, I'll add timestamps to all this stuff, so you could skip. But that's it. I need to take care of myself now and do my balsamic thing, and get some food in me, and that's all I'll say. Okay. So I appreciate you all. Thank you for everything, and thanks for being good in the chat. By the way, y'all are being good to each other in there, and I gotta ride that for as long as it works, because at some point something's gonna happen in that chat room, and I'm gonna have to put out a fire, But that's what's up. And Lisa, thank you. That's the old call to action. Don't forget to smash the like button. Yes. And you reminded me. There's the whole thing of whether or not someone's gonna subscribe to a channel, and then whether they press the bell on YouTube. Okay, and you press the bell, that means you get the notification of whenever I upload something. That could be irritating to see uploads, because I'm going to be doing more YouTube shorts and a couple other things here soon. So, but if you do the bell, when I go live or when something comes up. That's the thing. It's up to you. Lisa, thank you. Mercury Ascending, thank you. Tara, Lisa, Kiara, thank you. You all hung in there. Yes. And on that note, adios. Dankeschön. Aha, yeah, I see that too. All right, y'all. Ciao.